Racial integration in college football. On the field, it hasn't been an issue in decades, but in the coaching ranks, it's a completely different story. While half of players in the college football bowl subdivision are African American, only 5% of coaches are black. Carmen Felix is the head football coach at Juniata College. He believes the lack of minority coaches in college football is a significant injustice.
What the percentage is as far as players play the game and coaching the game, it's disproportionate, and it shouldn't be that way.
Felix says that being a coach is similar to teaching, a field that has 3 times more minority professionals than coaching.
I'm no different than what the English professor is, than what a math professor, what a history professor. My subject just happens to be football.
Felix also says that being able to relate to his players is equally important in doing his job well.
When you deal with 18 to 22-year-old young men, there's going to be problems. They come to me for solutions, for answers, so I've got to be able to handle the situations, to be a good problem solver, to know how to effectively communicate with them.
The lack of minority coaches becomes a problem when trying to understand players personally, since they do not share the same race or cultural background. Cedric Jeffries, a Penn State senior defensive back, says white head coaches are just the social norm in college football.
It's just something that people are used to. They're not used to seeing an African American coach at a major Division I school. It just hasn't been that way.
Jeffries also says that very few of his African American teammates are considering coaching in the future.
I just think it's just something they want to rush into right away, because when they're done playing the game, I think they're just going to need time to get away from the game for a little bit.
Maurice Freeman is a former collegiate offensive lineman and currently works as an assistant coach on State College Area High School's varsity football team. He says the lack of ambition to enter the coaching profession primarily has to do with current players thinking short term.
They're still in player mode. They looking to be successful. And I mean, from that standpoint, I guess it's kind of premature for them to really make that decision, because they don't know what they want to do in 10 years from now.
Regarding the lack of black coaches in college football, Freeman believes it goes all the way back to segregation.
You look at history, there was no black coaches. During those times, it was segregation.
But Freeman does say the increasing coaching opportunities for African Americans have resulted in success and benefits for blacks in America.
Today, you got African American coaches succeeding in the business. We've been playing this game for so long, and now we're starting to get the opportunity to be coaches. So now you guys starting to see some of that benefit.
Pro football used to lack minority coaches too. In 2003, Pittsburgh Steelers owner Dan Rooney passed the Rooney Rule. It requires every NFL team to interview at least one minority applicant when there's a coaching vacancy. Many people have wanted a similar rule in college football, and the first step has been taken in the state of Oregon. Friday, the House Education Committee passed Bill 3118. The bill would require state universities to interview at least one minority candidate when hiring a new coach or athletic director. Oregon legislator Mitch Greenlick drafted and sponsored Bill 3118. Greenlick says minority coaches in college football haven't been given enough opportunities due to historical prejudice.
I think it's basically because they haven't been given a chance. A while back, it was viewed that African Americans particularly weren't smart enough to be football coaches. And we've just learned over time that, of course, that's not true.
Greenlick says he's a strong believer in the Rooney Rule and believes minority coaches have been successful when given the chance.
It seems to me, just as happened in the NFL, once you give minority candidates an opportunity, they do great. I mean, that's why we have, I think the Rooney Rule's why we had 2 black coaches in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Back in Juniata, Coach Felix says he would support a similar law in Pennsylvania.
If colleges would interview more potential minority candidates and give them an opportunity to interview for those jobs, then I think it would maybe be a different scenario.
Felix adds that football isn't something that should be divided between race and other discriminating factors.
There's no stipulations with football. It doesn't know anything about color or creed or ethnicity or religion or socioeconomic status.
The Oregon House of Representatives is likely to pass Bill 3118, making it the first of its kind in college athletics. For Com Radio, I'm Trevor Turner.